don't know if you want to see it.
I'm sorry. Oh, Brandon.
How are you, sir?
Fine, you?
I'm not complaining. You started complaining until did it.
I went to the farm.
If you want to give that one to Jamie, because I was running short.
This right here?
Yeah.
She brought hers back. Everything. Yeah, he accidentally gave it to me. I already had my folder in my truck. Good. Call this meeting to order. Mr. Smith, would you like to lead us in the invocation?
Father, one more time, we come before you, humble, obedient to your will, God. We ask you, Lord, again, to give us wisdom, give us knowledge. God, help us here as council, as all representatives of Cedar Bluff, to come together with love one for another. God, that we could do something that would be beneficial for the people of Cedar Bluff. We know we're individuals. We know that we're going to have differences. We know that we're going to have different problems. But God, help us to accept the things that go our way and to forget about the things that don't go our way. Father, we'll praise you and we'll thank you. In Jesus' sweet humble name, amen.
Amen. Mr. McLaughlin, would you like to lead us in pledge?
I will.
Thank you, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome all the visitors for coming out tonight. Looks like we have a pretty good turnout. If y'all would, just bear with me still. Second meeting. May have a little nerves still. Hopefully it'll get better every time. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mr. McLaughlin and a second by Mr. Smith. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes from January 12th, 2021 meeting?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes. January 12th.
I second it.
Oh.
There you go.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from January 12th by Mr. Stevenson and Ms. Tuggle. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of the bills?
I've got just one question or two since I haven't really, not used to seeing it. John, what is rural development?
It's the payment that we pay for the fire department, rural development. It's financed that way. It's been that way when I came here. It comes out of a special account that we've got set up for the fire department.
Basically a mortgage.
It's a mortgage, yeah. Rural development. They're called, it's rural development, but they're called, they changed their name. What was it, Mimi? They changed-
Farmers something, wasn't it?
Farmers Home Administration. Yeah, it used to be Farmers Home Administration. They changed it to rural development, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's B&B government?
The BB&T governmental finance. That is on a secondary note with the fire department on that.
Last question, utility service.
Is that VUPS, Virginia Utility Protections? No,
I don't, it just says utility service, 3,700.
I'm not sure.
Utility, that's probably Tuck, isn't it?
No, not utility. Let's see here. Is it second page?
Second
Right
page.
there.
Yeah, I see that one. Utility service, maybe. I tell you what, I'll get that pulled up for you
Yeah.
and make sure.
Well, that's not that important, I guess.
Well, it's pretty important, it's $3,700, but
Yeah.
I can't, oh, I know what that is. That's our service contract with Zeus on our tanks, our water tanks. It's a quarterly payment that we pay them, they do our maintenance, like if a tank needs sprayed or drained and painted inside or resealed or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Altizer? So, that's what that is. Tim's nodding with me, so I'm like, he understands what it is. It's it's Zeus or whatever. It's I think that's her name. It's SUEZ.
The amount sounded right. The amount sounded right.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking that's right.
Yeah. I think we pay that twice a year, the 37. It's either, I know it's at least twice a year. I thought it was a quarterly payment, but it may be just twice a year. I can pull that up for you too.
It was twice a year,
Twice, I think.
back when.
Is it twice a year, Terry?
I think so.
Okay. Got me on my toes, York. I mean, I'm
I can tell.
backpedaling, you know what I mean? I'm getting worried.
Any other questions about the payment of bills? Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills?
No motion.
Second.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second to approve the payment of the bills by Mr. Lindsay and Ms. Boyd. All in favor, vote aye.
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 Motion passes. So,
Oh, yeah, AJ. I gotta get that set up down there on that. AJ Robinson, she is with the Tazewell County Tourism. She's the director of that. She took David Woodard's position off that. And she was going to attend tonight, but she had another prior engagement, but she's going to attend by phone.
You want it here
So
or here?
put it over there just so they can hear it. And I gotta call her, sync my Bluetooth. Hold on one second. Okay. Is it on?
Mm-hmm. Are you synced?
I'm synced, I believe.
Put a dollar up.
Alright, let's do it. Is it coming on?
Hello.
Hey Jay.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? You're live.
Okay, great. Can everybody hear me?
Everybody can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank y'all so much for allowing me to call in today. I do apologize. I was just recently appointed to the Appalachian School of Law Board of Trustees, and they just called a special meeting, so I wasn't able to join you in person today, but did want to make sure that I was able to discuss a few items that Mr. Absher had asked me to talk to you all about regarding our tourism department. So I serve as the county's communications and tourism director, and there are a few things coming up that I just kind of wanted to go over with you all. Recently, you all did get a rally grant, and that requires community support and community meetings, and you have to have a community leader to take responsibility for that. So Sarah Romeo has been appointed to the tourism committee. She was appointed this month by Supervisor Lester to represent Cedar Bluff. As you know, she kind of heads up the Appalachian Arts Center, which will be moving into the bill, and she has agreed to be your community leader for that project. So hopefully that will be able to save that $3,000 grant by you all being able to have someone take the lead on that project. The other item that I also wanted to talk to you all about was the Love Sign that you all had. There was an application that was applied for through Virginia Tourism. It's a matching grant of $1,500. Tazewell County has 9 official Love Works. Cedar Bluff is the only town that doesn't have a Love Work located in its area. So I did check with Virginia Tourism for the town. The application is almost 2 years old. They have held it and they have held the funding. So that is another project that, along with your rally, you might be able to complete that way. Coming up soon, we're going to have a restaurant week. So 3 of our 5 towns have community development directors. So the county has partnered with them to do a restaurant week the first week of March. That is to help restaurants be able to kind of get through it's typically a difficult time of year just because we don't have a lot of tourism during that time, but with COVID, it's made it particularly difficult. So we have partnered with those 3 community development directors. Connie Allen, who serves as Richlands Community Development Director, was very gracious in offering to contact all of the restaurants at Cedar Bluff to be sure that they were all included and to see who wanted to participate in that restaurant week. So she'll be doing that this week and next week, and then we'll be getting that promotion together. Along with that, if you see any of the restaurant owners, we are doing a grant so that they can have outdoor seating. The grant is for outdoor heaters. So just in case something happens with COVID again, we'll be a little bit more prepared. I know that some of them had to move items outside last year when we had a government shutdown, but also this will just help in general if they wanted to put out some outdoor seating. Virginia Tourism, the representative for that is Michelle Workman, and she also is serving as the Clinch River Valley Initiative's chairperson for Hometowns of the Clinch. So they are very interested in Cedar Bluff obtaining that designation. There is a formal process. She is looking for a contact person, whether it be a town employee or it be a member of the council, to serve as the contact to work through that process with Kirby to help obtain that designation. So anyone that is, any of the towns that are along the Clinch, they try to help them obtain that with marketing, especially because there's getting ready to be a state park associated around the Clinch. I know that Cedar Bluff, I'm sorry, not Cedar Bluff, Richlands and Tazewell have completed that process and have received the designation. So Cedar Bluff would be the only community left in Tazewell County that they would need to work with for that. And then finally, when we had the community development meeting, there was discussion regarding Easter. I know that a lot of towns have Easter egg hunts, and because of the COVID-19 restrictions, as far as community development directors, they feel like that there would not be, they would not be able to have those again this year, just because we're still at the 10 number for gatherings. So Tazewell last year and now Richlands and Bluefield have jumped on board. They're going to hold drive-through egg hunts. So what they're going to do is put together packages of stuffed eggs and candy. People can pick them up through the drive-through, and then they'll be able to hold egg hunts at their home. So that is kind of the alternative that they're going to do for Easter. So I did talk to Mr. Absher to see if the town wanted to participate in that themselves, or Connie Allen has offered to partner with Cedar Bluff if you all would like to work with her to work on that community development project. So those are pretty much the items that I had to cover. If y'all have any tourism questions, I'm happy to answer them. We are going through an overhaul in the tourism department. We just got a new logo up. We're getting ready to kind of rebrand. We're having a new website up. In addition to the website, we're having a new service called Visit Widget, where people can actually go in and plan their vacations, whether it's on a desktop or on their phone. Eventually, those will expand out to kiosks so that when people are visiting on business, they can see where they can eat and places that they can visit while they're in town. And we also just received we're super excited about this. We were accepted in Drive 2.0, which is a program that Virginia Tourism is doing to determine what products our community should look at in expanding for tourism development. There are more than 160 communities that are eligible. Only 30 communities will be accepted in the Commonwealth. They'll be picked in 3 rounds of 10. So 10 communities for each round. And we're super excited that Virginia Tourism picked Tazewell County to be one of those 30 communities. We were selected in the first round, so that was a great honor for us. We're along the lines of being selected with Richmond and Charlottesville, Bristol, Virginia Beach. So we are super excited to be able to participate in that program as well.
Awesome.
So does anyone have any questions? I'm sorry I went so quickly.
Oh, you're fine. You did great, AJ. I do think you may have a question from Jamie Tuggle.
Yes, hello, how are you?
Ooh, I can barely hear you.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better, yes.
My question is, I realize that we're in the midst of COVID and we can't do a lot of gatherings at this point, but hopefully in the near future that'll change. And I really want to start doing the farm-to-table dinners in Cedar Bluff like they do in Tazewell. And I'd like to get a head start on that for when COVID is released and we can get back to having parties. So what do we need to prepare for or plan for to do that?
I'm really sorry. I couldn't hear. John, text me the question so I can answer her, please.
Yeah.
Or I can hear you. What was the question?
She is wanting to do farm-to-table dinners
Oh, she
here.
wants to do a farm to table.
Yeah, here in Cedar Bluff after the COVID restrictions are lifted, is what she's
And of
after.
course, warm weather.
Of course, warm wet weather as well. You know, now's not the time, but she's wanting to get a head start on that when the restrictions are lifted and it's a little warmer. Could you help with that or brainstorm with us or give us some ideas when we get ready to do that, AJ?
Yeah, we're happy to brainstorm with you. So the tourism department doesn't actually plan the events out. We just market your event.
Right.
So if you have an event, we can help you market it or help you find ways of funding to market the event.
Right.
So you are correct. It is a difficult time. The town of Richlands partnering with Cool Town Tax is also trying to do a farm to table. They tried to do one in the fall. And the restrictions were, they were really crazy with the health department. So it would have to be after some of the health restrictions are lifted. But yes, and we can actually put you in touch with some of the people who organize the farm to table in Tazewell. They have good information and helpful details to tell you what worked for them, what was not successful, and how they were able to plan it. One of the things that might be beneficial with you all is when we had a meeting with representatives of Virginia Tourism today, and Sarah got on to talk about the Appalachian Arts Center, and she mentioned that they would be doing some culinary classes there because they have that commercial kitchen. So that might be, if you want to put it in downtown, a really good base for your chefs to come in and be able to prepare that food. So you might want to kind of just start looking at kind of locations and maybe start looking at who you would like to have that's going to be willing to work and serve on that committee to kind of get a head start on it.
Okay.
If you can find some other projects in your community, there is a marketing leverage partnership that Virginia Tourism has.
Oh.
And you don't, I mean, if you have projects now that need marketing, I know that one of the things you might want to market is Overlook Park. But if you have some of those things that you think that you might want to be able to partner with, that next MLP grant process will start in May. I'll be sending out the information on that. One of the benefits of this is because of COVID, they're not asking you for actual money. Usually it's a match.
Right.
This time it is a match, but the match is in kind.
Gotcha.
So you don't physically have to have money for a match.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any other questions from AJ? Brad, do you have anything? Mr. Lester? I have Tom Lester here with us tonight, AJ.
Yeah, that's great. Supervisor Lester is wonderful to work with, so I'm glad that he's able to be there with y'all today.
Yeah, I am too.
And he's actually our new chairperson.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
So if anybody needs anything else, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. If y'all have questions regarding the application process for that marketing leverage program,
yeah,
or even if you don't feel like you have enough assets to be able to cover that grant, the tourism department will be submitting that application. And
okay,
the application does require you to have partners. So if
okay,
there is a particular need that you have, maybe to market that Overlook Park or something else that you have,
right,
then we are happy to be a partner with you to help you be able to obtain the necessary funding to be able to market those.
awesome. AJ, thank you, you've been a
If you
great
have
help.
any other questions,
If we have any other
feel free to
questions,
let me know, and then we'll be touching base again with you all regarding the Drive 2.0 campaign,
okay,
so that you all will be able to fill out one of those surveys and participate in where you would see some of the development in the future. This is a 5-year plan in Tazewell County.
okay,
So hopefully I'll be able to get to see you all soon, and then I'd love for y'all to come up and see our visitor center that we have in Bluefield and see some of those things that we have, and then also I'll be touching base with you. We're getting ready to do a county-wide digital brochure. It's really easy for people to be able to obtain those, especially with COVID. A lot of people like things emailed to them now rather than having something in hand. So we'll be sending out Cedar Bluff's portion, so y'all can take a look at that.
sounds great.
Thank
Thank you.
y'all so much. Y'all have a good night.
You too, AJ, thank you. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Awesome. It's the first time I ever worked with them. Yeah. I didn't know you had to turn off. I just thought I just had needed to hang up. Thank you, Loki.
Can we ask a question about what she said?
Yeah.
It's the love work grant. I mean, is she talking about the sign?
It's that love sign.
Okay, but
Like in
What,
Richlands.
did they have someone give you a grant so you can get that made?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
She says $1,500.
$1,500, yeah.
Just to clean it up, right?
Right.
just the what? What? Just
Just
to give
to
us
have,
some money?
Yeah.
I'd say.
Can you take it down later?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Is that
Yeah,
how
I'm gonna
much
be
they
honest
cost?
with you. I mean, and there's gonna be mixed opinions about this, but I'm not a fan of the love sign. I think they look cheap, and the reason I say that, they're in every Virginia rest area along the interstate, and I'm not a fan of the love sign. And that's the reason I haven't pursued it. And, you know, if Linda Singleton knew I said that, she'd kill me. You know, thank God she's not here, but I'm just not a fan of the love sign.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, there's enough scrap metal laying around my dad's garage that my son could probably weld that really easy.
Right. I mean, we can do it
Get a
because
love
at
sign made.
the end of the day, y'all are the bosses. If
that's
y'all
what you
decide to
really
do the
want.
love sign, we will do the love sign.
But are you able to use the grant money for whatever you need? Or
No,
does
it's
it have to be-
it's gotta be for the love sign.
Just gotta go into the love sign.
Gotta go into the love sign. Yeah, we'll have
We
to.
could find some scrap metal and just get that, I could get that.
Well, you
made.
have to get the design and get it painted. Richlands is, how's Richlands, Ginger?
Light
It's,
blue. It lights up and blue lights.
Yeah.
When, during the nighttime. It's at the green light.
yeah, so, I mean, some people are crazy about it. They love them.
Right.
Just,
They could pick a better name for me.
yeah, I mean, you know, I don't ever know how they got
That's a
there.
good guy's vision.
I think it was cool when they first started,
I
Yeah.
do too.
but
I
now
do
it's
too.
kind of wore out.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. But at the end of the day,
But if
it's
that's
your
something
all's
you all
decision. If y'all want,
pursuing, I
if
thought
y'all
I
wanna
could
do
still
the,
get that done real easy.
if y'all wanna do the love sign, we will do the love sign. I don't have a vote. I just have an opinion. What do you think, Terry? You like the love sign?
You don't want my opinion?
Mr. Smith, what do you think about the love sign?
I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah, I'm just,
I think there's other things that we can be involved in, it's gonna be more important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Lester set the $1,500 grant up when he was town manager here. Of course, we were still working on the design, right, Tom, for the love sign. And of course, he'd got everything in place. The $1,500 will go to, it will come to us, and
It's a reimbursement grant.
we spend it.
You
and then
spend it and then you get reimbursed for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, you know, it's,
I just thought since you brought it up, that must have been something you was in the process of doing or something already.
no, I mean, I've told her how I feel, but, you know, she's on the opposite side. She likes the love sign, so, you know, and again, if y'all want the love sign, we'll do the love sign. Because Ginger may like the love sign, you know, and, I'm just saying, you know, there's a lot of people that really like that love sign, so, but I think what hurt the value of it, me personally, is when they put them at the rest areas. You know, that just sort of just killed it for me. You know, because I know why I stop at a rest area. It ain't the rest. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
It's not for
no,
love.
it's not for love. No, it's one reason.
Well, Mayor, if I can make a comment, I do think that y'all might need to talk to Sarah,
Yeah.
because she was trying to come up with some local artist work
Right.
to incorporate the new art center that is the old mill.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think her process of what she was trying to develop was going to be a very indigenous
Indeed.
project to our area,
Right.
That's why I can,
incorporating a lot of local artists.
right, I think that would be
You know, and then that would
prettier,
be
more
only
aesthetic.
unique
Right.
to
I can see it.
I can see that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And Ginger's right. Ginger's right. And Ginger's artsy, you know.
She is.
You know.
Yeah, I am.
You might know someone who could make it.
Yeah. Ginger, do you know?
Do what?
Do you know someone that can make it for us?
I think what Sarah, the direction she was looking at was getting all the artists together and each one of them having a piece of the pie,
Okay.
you know, and I
If
think
that's
she
the
just-
case,
yeah.
I say let's, you know, and
But I do think
yeah,
it would be worth at least for y'all to
Right.
hear what her thought process is on
I
it.
agree. I agree. Hopefully, maybe next meeting I'll request to see if she can come to the meeting and maybe we can just do it that way.
Well, that spot out there on the exit where, I know Terry always puts that sign for the festival,
Yeah.
that's a great spot for just something. You know, people just pay attention to that spot,
Right.
going down the road all the time.
Yeah.
Anything that we wanna emphasize, it's just a cool spot right there.
Yeah.
Be controlled by the state.
Yeah, that's VDOT there. I don't know if we can, you know,
You can't put anything other than a banner.
no, just pretty much a banner because you really can't pull off there to go get pictures there. VDOT would get onto us, but like
probably
out here
from
beside
gazebo.
the gazebo or
That
the old
lot,
mill,
right.
or at the old mill where
But
Sarah's
you could
at.
put a banner up there saying detour into our town and
Yeah,
Look at us.
yeah,
check out our sign.
Right.
yeah.
No, I think that would be better than just.
I think we
a
need to have
cheaper
Sarah
rate.
have a discussion and maybe, you know, since that is gonna be the art center or part of it down there.
It'd be pretty there. Yeah, definitely.
It would look good there, and then we can incorporate that at the old mill and all that, so I don't have a problem with that. I was just thinking like right here in the town square, you know, I just, not here, you know what I mean? There's a place for it, and I think that would be the place for it, since that's what she's striving to do.
Well, I do
anyways.
think that she was trying to do some kind of fusion
Right.
into drawing people to the art center.
Right, I get that. I
And
get
when
that.
people see unique things, they're curious to
That's
see
right.
what's the rest of the story.
Right,
And
you're
I think
right,
that's what she was trying to incorporate.
you're right.
And most people like that photo opportunity
They
Yeah.
do, they do,
with unique places and things, and,
yeah,
you know, that will draw people.
yeah. We did that.
Resolution for boards and committees.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Mr. Ratliff did a resolution for me for the boards and committees. Do you want to read it, Mr. Ratliff? Do you want me to read it?
I'll be happy to.
Okay.
This is a resolution, council appointments to certain commissions and entities. It reads, whereas the Cedar Bluff Town Council engages in many forms of governance, assistance, and in support of Tazewell County and associated communities. And whereas certain county entities, including but not limited to commissions, committees, boards, panels, agencies, and delegations, desire and seek input and participation from the localities such as Cedar Bluff. And whereas the town strongly endorses participation in any and all entities and organizations that support and enhance our community and surrounding area. And whereas the town council opines that the best way to support these entities is to appoint only current town council members to represent the town, except in certain limited circumstances on a case-by-case basis as necessary, based on the nature of the entity, if council members do not hold the requisite knowledge, experience, or expertise to effectively participate in such entity, which decision shall be in the sole and exclusive purview of the council. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and the town council of the town of Cedar Bluff, on behalf of the citizens of this municipality, that appointments by the town council to commissions, committees, boards, panels, agencies, and delegations shall be council members in present good standing. And be it resolved that approval of any appointments to all commissions, committees, boards, panels, agencies, and delegations involving the county or local government shall require a majority vote of the town council for the town of Cedar Bluff approving the same.
Okay, there's a resolution that's gonna, in order to pass this resolution, we need asking for a motion.
Do I have a motion to pass this resolution?
Teresa.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second to pass this resolution by Ms. Boyd and Ms. Tuggle. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Okay, appointments. Before we get started on the Cumberland Plateau Planning Company appointment to fill Tim Trent's seat, I haven't got to speak with Jim Baldwin to see exactly when that starts, because I know everything's crazy right now with COVID. And I'm asking for that to be tabled until next meeting on the Cumberland Plateau. That is on section E. Just table that till next meeting is what I'm asking for. But the Tazewell County Airport Authority is up to fill Jerry Heron's seat. And
Do I have a motion to fill the seat of Jerry Heron for Tazewell County Airport Authority?
I'll make the motion to fill Jerry on the seat.
no, you got to, this is where we gotta have an appointment. We gotta appoint someone.
You have to
Oh, we're
recommend.
gonna appoint someone, okay.
Can we appoint Luke?
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor to appoint Luke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Luke Phillips to Tazewell County Airport Authority. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Damn, man, no public comments.
No.
No, you gotta take that.
Is there any public comments?
Yes, I'd like to speak.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I'm Ginger Bratton. I live at 109 East Hillcrest Drive in Cedar Bluff, and I'm here to request funding for the CART grant. The town of Cedar Bluff typically does the matching grant of $500 every year, and I am requesting that y'all continue to do that. The grant application is due April 1st. I've already talked to Missy, and I'm going to get with her and complete it if y'all approve the grant. For us to move forward with it.
What's the grant for again?
It's CART's grant. It's well, it used to be the Government Challenge Grant. Now they've called it the Creative Community Partnership Grant. Every time we get a new governor, it gets a new name. You know, so. But the old name is the Government Challenge Grant.
In Ginger's defense, we do this grant with her every year, so we've always been supportive of Ginger and that, so we've always do that. We just got finished up with that last one. You had to come down and help Missy. My daughter was out with pancreatic or appendix surgery, and
Oh gosh.
and so you and Missy got that taken care of. But yeah,
She did. We got it done.
but it was close to get almost not getting done, but we got done.
Right.
But Yeah.
Well, because of the pandemic, everything's changed,
Right,
as
right.
you know, and,
Yeah.
and we certainly will get started on it earlier.
Right.
So I just need a yes or no.
Well,
Well, I make a motion that we, approve that grant, cart grant.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the cart grant by Mr. McLaughlin and Ms. Boyd. All in favor, vote aye. Motion passes.
you got it, Ginger.
Can I speak again?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, a new 3 minutes. Timmy, I do want to mention that Morgan Griffith's husband will be the teaching, Gilbert, sorry, will be teaching the culinary classes. He would be a good one for you to have serve on your farm to table, you
That was
know.
an awesome idea.
You know, so, and I think, what the plan is for that is for them to be able to, have an opportunity for students to be able to prepare some meals when they get to that point. So I think the quicker you can jump on somebody like that to get them lined up with your plans, the better off you'd be.
Gilbert,
Uh-huh. Morgan, that's his wife, Stephen's his name.
it's her husband,
Yes.
Stephen, and he's going to be
He's gonna be the culinary instructor, right, for the
He's the
classes.
chef at Morgan's in Abington.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
yes,
has
that's
closed
right.
now. It's closed,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
so, and I don't think they're anticipating opening it back up.
Right, that's great.
All right, can I put on another hat? Your Easter egg thing. Years ago, when I did that, you could order 1,000 Easter eggs. You know, if y'all want to partner with that project, and I think it was like $100 for 1,000 eggs, and they were already filled. You know,
Who's this with, Ginger?
the Easter egg hunt
Easter egg hunt?
that AJ was talking about. I mean, you just order them and they get them.
Oh, that's great.
You know, so I figured why stuff something if you don't have to.
That's right.
And I'm assuming that the company is still in business. I don't have any idea. It's been a long time since I've done that, you know. But just to offer a suggestion.
Yes,
Did
ma'am.
AJ say they weren't having the Easter egg hunt?
No, they're having
They're doing a
drive.
reverse.
Drive-through.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying, we can order 1,000 eggs already
Yeah.
stuffed, and then like give away 10 eggs or 15 eggs per vehicle through until,
Well, it might be more than that because, I mean, the reverse parade for the Richlands Christmas parade, that was thousands of cars.
oh,
You know, so I think what AJ was thinking about is maybe doing 1 or 2 eggs in a little baggie with some other little things through donations of the community.
right,
That worked out really good, and everybody wants to support those things.
right.
You know, so, but except for the Easter eggs, if you could order them collectively together, you'd
Right.
get a bigger bang for your buck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, all right, that's all. I'm
You
trying
have
to
their
think if I had another
Do
hat.
you have their contact information, Ginger?
I used to. I don't know, but I mean, you could probably Google it.
Okay.
You know, because they're in bulk. So, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Is there any other public comments? Mr. Lester?
Go ahead.
How are you, Mr. Astor?
Ah,
You doing all right?
yes, doing great.
Good.
For those that don't know me, David Askew, live across the street, born and raised here, lived here all my life. I've played in every alley and climbed every tree in Cedar Bluff. I come by tonight, I really need to vent a little bit. Been on me for a couple of years now, I need to just have a little closure. The Askew family built their home in 1947. My calculation, we've been living here and paying taxes here for about 74 years. My father loved this town, devoted his life to it. A couple of years ago, I was doing some work in my yard and I was using a shovel trying to dig up an old tree stump. Really hard. A couple of friends, family said, "Why don't you ask the town for a little help? They got a backhoe." I said, "Okay, I might do that." So I approached the town to see if they might could help me out a little bit. Well, another month or so went by and didn't hear nothing, and asked the town again. I'm going to cut this story real short. About 3 months later, I was at work. My wife called me and said, well, they showed up and said they couldn't do that job. Well, to this day, no one has ever came to me, looked me in the eye, man to man, and explained to me why I didn't get any help. And I let it go. Until I got home, I was a little upset. I came over to the town hall to speak to the town manager. Wasn't you, John? And I explained. And I was told that I was not a priority. Now I can understand, because I didn't ask to be a priority. I'm no better than anybody in this town. I don't care how many years the Askews have lived here. I'm not better than anybody. But nobody's better than me.
Amen.
We're all in this world together, guys. I want to thank you for letting me vent. I just wanted to give you a little moral of the story. If an old man comes to you and he's a resident of the town and he asks for help, help him out.
Amen.
I probably won't ever ask the town for nothing else. But please help somebody if they ask for it. I'm 65 years old and digging around a tree stump. Okay, now I want to talk to you as a taxpayer. I know your budget's coming up, and you're going to be working on the new budget. Poor old people of Cedar Bluff, we're paying taxes, and water bills, and electric bills, and we're paying our bills. I just want you to try to keep us in mind when you work on your budget this year. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.
Mr. Lester.
Appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom Lester, 194 East Hillcrest Drive. I come to you from the Board of Supervisors in Tazewell County. I wanted to come last year, or last month, but I'm here to congratulate each of you in your new positions, Mr. Mayor and council members. To serve is a great honor, and on the Board of Supervisors, we certainly appreciate the other municipalities and consider Cedar Bluff a valuable partner. And so I thought I'd give you a little update on some of the things that we have been working on. First, I'm a little tired because I want to get a dig in for someone. Travis Hackworth, who's a fellow board member, is seeking another office. And so for the last couple of days, I've been getting up early and traveling all across Southwest Virginia, and it is my hope that you will consider Mr. Hackworth come March 23rd on the special election. He has been a former chairman of our board and a businessman in the community, and is now running for the Senate, which is why I want to bring up, we will be having a hearing on February the 23rd at 4:30 to relocate the Cedar Bluff precinct. And the purpose of the relocation is primarily with ADA compliance rules and regulations, and particularly under the COVID environment that we've had this past election cycle, we realized that we might need a larger facility. And so the church up here at the Assembly of God, they've been very generous to offer their facilities for us. There's ADA compliance there, a large parking area. It would also mean that the school system would be able to continue on with their schedule, and so there will be a hearing on the 23rd. I expect that will pass, and when it does pass, then come March 23rd with the special election, the voting will occur over on Indian Creek Road. But I thought that you might be interested in that one. The Dominion Hydroelectric project that we have been working on for several years now, it is on hold with the COVID environment, although there has been some work, but I will tell you that it is still in the pipeline, and it is still an expectation in Tazewell County. The landfill that every so often we have to expand with the landfill, and we're at that point now where we're looking to expand the landfill. As you may be aware, the county contracts the maintenance of the landfill and its waste management services to a third-party for-profit company. And so in the process of purchasing putting a new building up at the new expanded landfill, the Board of Supervisors is building into the loan enough money to add an additional compressor at the transfer station here in Cedar Bluff. It is our hope that by doing so, we will eliminate the often long lines and frustrated citizens that we have as they use those facilities. So that will be coming around the pike next year. The last thing that I have for you is an update, is to let you know, and your town manager is very familiar with this project, as he went to Israel 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago. 7 years in the making, but Project Jonah is finally coming to fruition. And with the expectation, the groundbreaking, it has been approved, all the preliminary studies have been approved, and permitting is to begin. We expect construction to start in the spring. It should last about a year. There could be up to 300 jobs during the construction process and 230 jobs once the facility is up and running by year end. So that is an exciting thing. Lastly, with the census coming around, since the census is over and the numbers coming in, the county will form its every 10 years it has its redistricting committee. And I believe, are you serving, I don't remember how or is the mayor, or are you serving?
I would assume probably the mayor,
The mayor.
or house, or whatever.
You'll be receiving a letter from the county attorney explaining the process, but we will be doing redistricting this year. And to explain what that means is that within the county line, actually within all of the lines for state legislatures, as well as our congressional lines, but they'll all be redrawn based upon population. And so we use a committee, a citizen committee and town representatives to redraw the precincts, and so that will begin, I believe, next month will be the first meeting. And that will be a long process, but we certainly appreciate everyone's patience on it. And things will look a little bit different, but not much at the end of the year.
Is the Western District going to expand, or?
We haven't seen the numbers yet. We are expecting that there's a good chance that the Western District may actually contract.
Right.
And part of some of the legislative changes is that we used to count prisoners in the population
For Pocahontas.
for Pocahontas. Well, for Miss Asbury's district.
Yeah.
And last year the General Assembly changed that. And so, you know, now that incarcerated individuals are counted in their home address, so their home residence. So the folks who are incarcerated in Pocahontas will not be counted towards population. So Miss Asbury's district will shrink quite a bit, and so it will have to expand. Likewise, Mr. Hackworth's district, I think we're expecting to shrink some as well.
Right.
And so that means they will probably move. There'll be some shifting, and the Western District will probably get smaller.
Well, do you foretell that the town of Cedar Bluff will remain in the Western District?
I'm quite certain. Typically, the municipalities remain kind of the center of the districts, and so yes, I would expect Cedar Bluff would stay in the Western District. But do you have any questions for me?
I've got one question, Tom, on Project Jonah. Do you know what the price tag is on that project?
Total investment, I think, was a little over $200 million. That was the public portion of that was about 10%. So there's been roughly $20 million in public investment, but the total price tag on the project is around $20 million. It's much larger than what it initially started. Initially, the project also was going to be a little smaller in scope, but they were doing tilapia. The tilapia project changed when the new investors with Aquamayoff, who are from Singapore, who have a long history of producing salmon, converted the product to salmon. And so It raised the price quite a bit, but they also expect the sales volume to go up dramatically. I think around 20 tons of fillets will go out each year annually.
How much more financing do they have to?
The financing is complete. Everything's complete. There were 3 projects that they were working on. And it seems like one was in Europe. There was another one or 2 in North America, and this was the largest one. So the financing and everything is complete. As a matter of fact, the Governor's Opportunity Fund has already, as my understanding, has been released. It's just with COVID, we weren't able to do any kind of ceremony. There is $10 million that will come from VECITA, but that $10 million will have to do with workforce development projects that will be in support of Project Jonah. So the community college will receive money to develop training programs, and that money is also one of those things, like a lot of VECITA, it will be reimbursed. So as the money is spent, then they will come back to VECITA for reimbursement on that. Total out of that, we see 300 people work in the construction aspect, 200 or more employees employed, but when we did the feasibility study years ago with Virginia Tech, and I was part of that team, one of the things that we looked at is the subsidiary support industries that will be there. There are around 21 grains that are used in the fish meal, and so there will be trucking involved in it. There'll be a process to hopefully bind some of those grains locally. The other thing is that there is a byproduct that comes out of with the salmon, with the integrated aqua technology. There's still a byproduct. And so in Israel, what they find is, and John could make a speak to it, but there are oftentimes vineyards and grapes and farmers that are close by, because the 1% of water that is left off actually is full of the byproduct of the fish. And so usually there's a fertilizer industry that grows out of this. Also, they can sell the fish oil is bought by cosmetic, the glands bought by cosmetic companies. So there's lots of support industries that might grow there.
And you mentioned the 300 jobs in construction and the other, how many more jobs?
It's gonna be a lot of indirect jobs once they come.
There'll be indirect jobs. Total employee, we've been told to expect a little over 200.
Are they gonna try to hire locally on every aspect of it,
Well,
or are they gonna bring people from other areas in to do stuff?
So the contracting for the construction will be handled by a general contractor, which is from out of state. So I mean, this is it's a very large project. It's about the size of 28 football fields, I think. So it's huge. If you look at a map, the facility itself is larger than the entire Southwest campus. And that's just one building. So it's a very large building. There's only a couple of folks who are able to do that, but they do plan on hiring quite a few local contractors, and there are several already that I'm aware of that are bidding or responding to the RFP on it. The county has nothing to do with the hiring of it.
I just know a lot of different things in the past, gas wells, whatever, they bring a lot of people from out of state in for a short time, and then they're in and they're out, you know. I just wondered how much they were gonna try to keep.
I think that a lot of the jobs, there'll be a lot of manual labor jobs that I think will be local. That's what we've been told. Again, it's not, the county won't be involved in that. And this project is really unique because this is it started with the hydroelectric, but this one is the first one to be executed as such. This project is actually part of our regional IDA. So Tazewell County, Buchanan County, and Russell County have a revenue sharing agreement on this project. We share the cost, a substantial cost. We have to upgrade and invest in a new water and sewage line that will go to the facility. They were requesting natural gas. We're responsible for building the road to the facility, the counties are. And so the permitting costs, there's a lot of things that would be a pretty large investment for one county. So we're sharing the expenses with Tazewell, Buchanan, and Russell, and then we'll also share the revenue on that as well, the taxable revenue, the machine and tool tax. Anything else?
I was just curious about that because a lot of people would come in and they wanted to be here temporarily, you know, they bring campers and try to put them here and there and everywhere. And I just wondered if people was coming from out of state needed temporary housing and where would that happen? And, or are you gonna try to hire more local?
Well, I
And I'm
mean,
sure that's gonna take a long time to build.
it will take, they say within a year. Construction will take about a year. We had the same opportunity, by the way, with the hydroelectric. You know, and on that project, we're expecting around 600 individuals needed for construction. And if we can use Dominion's numbers and the example they used when they built the Virginia City project, and this is equitable in labor cost. If you want to recall, if you would drive to Wise or to St. Paul, you would see RVs all along the road, and there's still, as a matter of fact, we were in Wise campaigning today for Senator Hackworth. But there was a lot of opportunities for folks in the restaurants, and I can tell you that at that time I was with Belk, and we were running double-digit increases during the whole construction period, particularly on the weekends. So it will be something.
Is that when the price come in and they put the gas line across? Is that when you're talking about?
I just know there's a lot of people come in with campers and
Yeah.
they filled up some of the trailer parks just because they was bringing campers, had nowhere to put them.
They had them down there.
My dad put some on farmland
Yeah.
that he wasn't even planning on doing, but people had nowhere to go.
Right.
There's a lot of economic
Those
development
are
that follows initially with these projects.
Yeah.
And it's true that there will be a lot of folks who will come in, but we have to remember that's also incoming capital. These are folks who will be coming into the communities and they'll eat out and they'll shop.
You gotta be planning ahead for either one.
They're both going to be very large projects, and we feel like they're both, you know, the hydroelectric is really just on hold right now, but we expect it to go forward. The Project Jonah, we can say is a
And
day.
even though I went to Israel in 2015, the project has changed so much. I mean, me and Travis was there together, and Seth White, a bunch of us, but it's went from tilapia to salmon, and Tom has really got the nuts and bolts of it, and really seen them. I was just there at the first, but Aquamayoff, they are for real company. I mean, they have it down to a state of art, don't they, Tom? I mean,
They do,
I mean,
and
they-
the partnership with salmon, Pure Salmon, is great. The project started 7 years ago. Delegate Moorfield and I, Delegate Moorfield started with a meeting that he had with Aaron Roberts, who was our representative on the Israeli Advisory Board.
And Ralph Robbins.
And we went up to meet with Ralph Robbins, and it was actually a couple of local business folks. And we went up and met at the Virginia Tech, was it Virginia Works, BT Works campus, and Ralph Robbins said, well, listen, we got this really crazy idea of the world's largest indoor fish farm. They're looking for an opportunity, and you know, is this something y'all might be interested in? And then Delegate Moorfield went to Israel on an APAC trip and met with the folks. And within a couple of weeks, we had them up at Aquamayoff up at Virginia Tech, and we used them. It was such a large project; it was more than any of us could do on our own. So we literally brought the project to VT, and they said, this is amazing. So we spent several weeks we had their graduate program in food science, we had their business school there, we had their political science school there, and we had Dr. Coons, who was with their aquaculture program there. And all of us spent just weeks after weeks going through data and looking at different models. And they actually were the ones who produced the feasibility study that was used to initially go forward with the project. So, and it's the only project that Virginia Tech or VT Works has ever signed off on. And so they actually put their logo and their signature on it, saying this is an amazing project. So it is a long time coming. We named it Project Jonah. Just probably one, we love the story, but one of the folks who was involved in it recanted that we started the meeting, we were waiting for Mr. Robbins, so we all gathered in a circle and held hands and prayed that this would bring a blessing to Tazewell County. And so then when it went forward and it was going to be fish, it was suggested, hey, this could be Project Jonah. It's like a biblical story, you know, and it's a story of redemption, and that's what Project Jonah has turned to be.
Awesome.
Tom has been instrumental. I call him twice a week. I love Tom Lester. He was a better town manager than myself. He's a better supervisor than myself. He's a great guy, and I reach out to him all the time and ask him for advice. And still to this day, when I don't call Tim Altizer, I've been able to call Tim and ask him for advice too. But you know, we're lucky to have him as our representative. And we got to help Travis Hackworth get elected.
Well, I would ask the Lord. All my energy has been, and I'm happy to serve on the board or on the committee with Jamie on the Richlands flood zone, and we're going to work on that. But most of my energy has been on electing Travis Hackworth. I know this is not an opportunity for campaigns, but it would be such a historic moment to have a senator. And I don't reckon we've had a senator, Senator Barnes.
Since when?
Since Senator Barnes, and that was when I was a kid. I was 1988, 89, I think.
It was 88.
1988 was when Senator Barnes left us. So to have the delegate for the district, at one time we had 3 delegates. Remember Jeff Stafford, Don McLaughlin, and Reeves? So to have a delegate and a senator living in our county is a great thing to have. So I do hope hope everyone will be appreciative of that opportunity on March 23rd to vote for him. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Any other public comments? Town manager report?
Yeah, I printed you all a employee handbook for all the council members, and I also did the charter. I think I already gave yours to you, didn't I? Looked last night. And we fixed the leak on Gateway Drive. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to fix Gateway Road probably in-house. I'm getting the engineers to do a blueprint for the town. We're not going to upgrade the line size. It's still going to be 2 inch. It's 2 inch galvanized right now, so we're just going to go back with 2 inch line. If we don't increase the line size, we won't have to get a permit. Is what Crossroads Engineering said. They said that we could list that under maintenance. Of course, we'll have to get bids on doing that work. I've talked to several contractors on that. We'll take bids on that. We put stone down, took care of Hurt Buggy Road and Highland Drive. Really, the last 2 weeks, all we've got done, and you can vouch for this, is pushing snow and spreading salt. And with all the bad weather that we've had. To Mr. Askew, I'm sorry that you had that problem. If I would have been here, I would have sent them over there with the backhoe and said, dig it out. I mean, that's just what I do. You know what I mean? And I've sent the backhoe out several times on private property for the citizens of Cedar Bluff. And I know you're probably not supposed to do that by a technical legal term of, you know, you can't spend taxpayer money on private property. I get that. But at the same time, you got to take care of your citizens. I've had several citizens come to me and say, well, Mr. Absher, Mr. McLaughlin would never do this for me, or so-and-so would never do this for me. And I'd say, hey, we'll get it taken care of. And one guy was so happy he brought me a box of apples. And but I mean, if I would have been here and you would have asked me, we would have got on it that day or the next day, we'd have got it knocked out.
I appreciate it.
I'm just saying, I don't want you to have a sour taste moving forward, because at the end of the day, where I do lack ability, I have a heart for people and the citizens here in the town.
Well, that's
So,
I think that's what we need.
And so anytime you need something like that, anytime, you come see me, and I'll do whatever I can to make it happen. Within reason, I really will.
Anything I can ever do for the town, I'm here to help.
And we love the Askew family. I remember your dad, he was a great man, and we thank you all for being part of Cedar Bluff. We really do. So, And I love Mickey. He comes by, don't we, Terry? We aggravate Mickey all the time. And we pick him up. I love him. He's my buddy. And so anytime, I just don't want you to feel that way because you have friends here and we want to help you.
Thanks.
So, moving forward, I had a council
I've
member.
got something, Brother John, I'd like to say on that.
Okay.
I was real touched by Mr. Rescue's comments. And if you come and ask John something, it's something that he can't do, have him pass word to me. I'll have personal people.
Well, I appreciate that.
We'll dig it.
And if the Askews could ever help you
I've
guys,
got men and
right.
equipment that'll come and help, and we're real concerned about our people in Cedar Bluff. And I really hate that you went through this process, but there are here on the council people that's got a heart, people that want to help. We're not just here for a big-eyed time, we want to help our people. And sometimes the town can't do it due to the law or things, but there's private citizens like myself that's got equipment, and we're wanting to help anybody that we can help or do in small projects. I'm not digging house footers or stuff like that for free, but something's done. And I appreciate what you said and what you come for. But rely on Cedar Bluff to do what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want to help you any way we can. I told the town employee, I won't mention his name, and I told him what I wanted him to do, and he said, I really can't do that, Mr. Rapture, we could get in trouble. I said, I'll take the blame, just go do it. And we did it, nothing was ever said, you know. So anytime like that.
well, I know sometimes we do things, and maybe we do things wrong. But
Right,
as long as your heart's in the right place, you can't do no wrong.
that's right, that's right. We're here to serve you any way we can, we really will.
Give us 1,000 more citizens with a heart, that's what we need.
Yeah.
Moving, does anyone else want to say anything, Mr. Askew? Moving forward, I had a council member, and I think this is an appropriate time. We have had, and I put this in my manager's report, we've had several issues of parking complaints on Old Kentucky Turnpike. And this council member conveyed to me that there's several people upset with parking here. They're operating a business on Old Kentucky Turnpike. There's really no place to get off the road. And with that being said, you know, the suggestion is maybe open our gates up there at the town garage. The only problem with that is that I see personally is the liability. If you get a kid out there at nighttime and he falls and splits his head open or something like that, I'm all about business and being pro-business, but you also got to have common sense. Who's going to be held liable? And that's going to be the town. If they get hurt on town property, they're going to hold us accountable. But I see the citizens' complaint. I see their perspective of it. It's congested there. It's bottlenecked on Old Kentucky Turnpike on certain nights. I also see that, you know, it's a business. I get that. So I was asked by this council member to bring this up. I don't want to, you know, I was just wanting to talk amongst the board, us have a general open conversation, be transparent with the public, and let the chips fall where they may. I mean, everybody's got different opinions, or, you know, maybe we can solve something. I went over there personally and looked at the property. At one time, in behind where they do the karate class, in that brick building, it's the old Masonic Lodge building. You know what I'm talking about, Dave?
Yeah, I'm amazed.
There used to be a parking lot in behind that building at one time, because you can see there was railroad timbers put there so people didn't pull down so far they went into the creek. I don't know how wide the alleyway is there to get in behind that building, but I mean, that was years and years and years ago.
But John, if I'm not mistaken, one reason the Masonic Lodge isn't there anymore was that building is actually sinking.
Okay.
Now, you might check into that, but I believe that building, where the ground is so soft,
Right.
The building is sinking on one corner, and I think it got a little unsafe.
Oh, okay,
So you might want to check the building, the structure, and make sure it's still safe.
okay. And to combat that, and I didn't know that. To combat that, this certain business there where they run the business out, they don't have water and sewer hooked up through the town. And I'm 99% sure they don't even have a business license to operate in the town. But they're wanting to use our parking lot there, where the garage is, where we keep all of our equipment at. And also,
How long have they been there, John?
they've been there for a good 3, 4, 5 years, haven't they, Tom?
Longer than that.
Maybe longer than how long, John?
Longer than that.
Oh, have they
They're
10?
right beside me.
At
Yeah,
least.
well, you know, how long have they been there, 10?
That's quite a while,
Quite a while, 10 years?
quite a while.
I took
And-
the garage class 5 years ago.
And the guy that owns the garage, and the guy that teaches
Mickey
the
was
garage,
already almost a black belt by then, so.
great guy. I love Mr. Brown, he's a good guy, get along great with him. But they're just, you know, even though they would like to have parking, they're the ones not really doing the complaining, because they know that
No,
the
they
city.
are, they have complaints.
Oh, have they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, see, we got another problem too, though. The guy that owns the building sent the town a letter. If we put one vehicle on his property, it's $500 a month.
Yeah,
Even if we have one vehicle on his property,
The guy knows the building or the tenant?
owns the building.
yeah.
Not the tenant. The
Even
tenant
if
would
we
be the
could do
garage
it,
class.
we could not afford the liability. If somebody got killed over off one of those backhoes or piece of equipment, this thing could run into hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What would be the legal aspect of that, Mr. Attorney?
It would raise a large liability for the town. I mean, you know, towns benefit from sovereign immunity, but that's only an affirmative defense to use in those cases. You know, I would anticipate that, having, that kind of risk is probably not with.
Is there nowhere else
Is
to
it
be
because of
located
the
in here?
equipment, or like he's saying, if a kid falls, a kid could fall right out here?
Well, it could be, you know, you could use a kid fall, an automobile accident, somebody have an injury or be run over. But I wouldn't advocate using the town property for parking in those circumstances.
What should we do? Any suggestions? Because if we have a child in the middle of the street over there, because there's not any parking, they get run over, would they not sue the town for that as well?
No. You know, in the street, you're talking about VDOT issue.
I mean, not that the suing part is the problem, if the child getting hurt's the problem to me, I just don't like it.
Well, it could be anybody. But opening that area over there for the use of a third party is a particular
Well,
risk.
is there any other suggestions that we could do to help? Can we figure out some way to?
It's really a property owner issue. I mean, you know, it boils down, I hate to say that, and I love helping, but
Are you saying it's an alley beside the building or?
I thought there
or-
was, someone said there was an alley beside the building. Is it on your side, Tim, the alley on that side? Is there an alley on that side that curves around the
There's
building?
a few feet on each side, but there's also, on my side, it's mostly took up by the steps going to the second floor.
Yeah, I noticed those steel steps going upstairs.
Yeah, so they would, I mean, there's no room to pass a vehicle, and it's like you would drag when you broke off the pavement
That's right,
on my side.
Right.
And I think it's only 4 foot on the town side if the last white post is on the property line. 'Cause
It's right on the line.
I keep all that mud around there.
right.
So, I think it's only about 4 feet that way. But
I went
I
and
think
looked
that,
at it
can I say
today.
something?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I live there, so,
Right.
and I've never complained about them folks. I keep my vehicles on Tuesday night pulled into my yard to give them extra parking on my side.
Right.
I mean, I've told her they're welcome to park in my driveway and everything, but we were talking, possible liability issues of opening the parking lot. I think you've also got liability issues of allowing, because the town knows that people are parking in the street, in a blind curve right beside the town shop. And knowing that and allowing that to go on, to me, is also a liability issue for the town. I may be Mr. Ratliff, but the town is aware of it and allowing it to go on. And my understanding is once you're made aware, and don't do anything about it, that's when the problems arise.
At that level, the awareness at that level, it may be that enforcement's necessary to prevent them from parking at all. I mean, that's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah,
And I think that you're probably onto something. The business owner or the landlord should work out something maybe across the street with the church for them to park in that parking lot. I mean, that's an area that's available, right?
Right.
And they can walk,
I just
30
don't wanna, I
yards.
just don't wanna see anybody, adult or child, but there's a lot of children get hurt out there.
Hmm.
And that's what the complaint was, that I've heard is a child's gonna get hit in that road.
And see, the bad thing about that is, and not playing devil's advocate by any means, but if they're gonna get hit in the road, what are they gonna do out there when they get out of the parent site on the parking lot and they start climbing on equipment and falling, maybe split their head open, knock an eyeball out, something, I mean, you hate to do that, but.
Well, his dangerous equipment.
Right, well, we got trailers back there, and we got backhoes, and we got mowers, and we got blades, and
Well, I
it's
think
just,
the idea of parking in the church, if that could be arranged, was a good idea.
Yeah.
That's the business owner of the business or the building owner's responsibility. And, with regard to the parking lot or the parking area where the equipment is, any kind of negligence law
Somebody said
requires,
about a church parking lot.
oh, it's on down, it's out there where,
2 blocks away.
2 or 3 blocks away where Joe Adair went to church there at the Methodist church.
Pretty good walk to get to that building.
Yeah, yeah. The best place to park if you're gonna park, but you can't bet on it, is if Singleton's didn't have a funeral. That would be the closest way for them to get to that building, but they usually have, you never know if they're having a wake service that night or what, so.
If I was responsible for that many children and I was making money off of it, I'd get a building somewhere that would furnish a parking lot and care for the children.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to have enough responsibility to say, hey, we're gonna get somebody hurt out here. We need to go find us a building to have karate in. I think the burden lies with who's making the money off the children. If they're willing to make money off children, they ought to meet liabilities or responsibility of having something safe for the children. Mine, children I got, I build a fence around the yard or hang a door on the house. I do something to keep them safe, So I really can't see where the town of Cedar Bluff can bear the responsibility of taking care of their business, myself.
But it's also unsafe for people traveling on that road if people are parked in the
but
road.
I think that raises the issue of enforcement immediately, which probably makes things worse for the business at this point.
Wouldn't be able to travel at all in your apartment.
Well, it's an ongoing conversation.
We can table it
Say.
and talk about it next meeting, and maybe if we can come up with
Resolved
some
on it.
ideas, but I just don't, me as a manager, and y'all put your trust into me to sort of supervise the town. That's better to say it, supervise, I like that better. I wouldn't recommend it, but I love your heart, Ms. Tuggle, I do, and I get it, I get what you're saying, and I do, and I wanna help people, I really do wanna help people, but at the same time, I wanna protect the town.
We have to keep it safe.
Yeah,
Sometimes there's no solution.
yeah, sometimes, like York said, there's no
The
solution,
only solution is to move.
right? Right. We'll table that till next meeting, and if we come up with any new ideas during the next month, we can bring it back up. That was one issue. Yeah, sure, go, Ginger.
You said he didn't have a business license?
I was just gonna,
I mean,
Right.
it looks like to me, that's the end of your conversation.
I know, Ginger.
That's the same comment I was gonna make and ask why he doesn't have a business license. I think that solves the problem.
I think he told on himself, didn't he?
You may ought to send the supervisor out there and ask why they don't.
I also had, this mentioned to me, I figured I'd bring this up and go ahead and get this out of the way. We had several members, interested in video or maybe doing a Facebook Live on the meeting. And, I figured we'll just go ahead and knock that out, tonight before we go into executive session. That way we get the meat of the meeting pretty much over before we go back there and discuss a few items. But, I've heard several members in favor of it. I've heard several members, I don't know. But I mean, there's always a happy medium. We can discuss it and see where we go with that. I see the pros of a live meeting. Sometimes when I want to be nosy and I jump on Rich Lance's and watch their meetings, and at the same time I'm thinking, God, we're not recorded, you know. I'm thinking, thank you, Jesus. So with that being said, there's pros to it. I mean, transparency, I get that. We live in an age now where you can never be too transparent and keep the public informed. The downside to the live meetings, you'll get a lot of feedback, a lot of blowback, and a lot of criticism from people that live outside the town. You know, so I see pros and cons to it on both sides. So, Mayor, I would like to open that up for discussion between the council members and see what they want to do there. I know we did post the agenda to our Facebook page yesterday.
Yes.
As soon as we got it ready, Missy put it on the Facebook page, and first thing I took Miss Tuggle's agenda over, and she said, "You put it on Facebook? You forgot, did you?" And she then got on to me, so I was like, "No, I told Missy to do it. Surely God, it's on there." So, anyways, had me a nervous wreck. So when I was in her parking lot, I ran up to my vehicle and called, and I said, "You put that on that Facebook, didn't you?" Because I knew she was going to check and call me, "You fibber, you lied." So I called Missy straight up. She's like, "Yeah, I did it. Don't worry, it's taken care of." So, anyways,
I think for one thing, we have to record the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And Tim's done it and done a good job with it, but Tim's Tim. We gotta protect ourselves if somebody comes back and says, "You said this," or "They said that." And
We are doing it, aren't we?
yeah, Missy's recording it tonight, and we're going to actually get it back. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I don't know if we need a different
I
type
wonder
of.
if we could pull it off. I would think we would be able to pull it off my phone and put it like on a file.
It's recorded by her, which is great, but it's not, that recording that she does is not made available to the public.
has the app.
The only one that's made available to the public is the one that Mr. Ross has.
I think so.
Right.
We can make it on.
So
I
the first-
accidentally
the
hit the
first
race
step-
going today.
The first step could be, rather than a video, at least at this point, until we're all comfortable with everything, is to make the audio that we do available to the public. So, I know YouTube has.
I think like there's better options than Facebook Live.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
but
Facebook Live's the worst.
if everybody's worried about being videoed at this moment, at least make the audio that the town does available to the public, not an audio done by someone else that may or may not get to come to the meeting every week.
Right.
Like a YouTube link on
I mean, Mr. Altheiser's been very faithful about being here, and he does it every week, which is wonderful.
I'm thankful for Mr. Altheiser and doing that
If
for
he
the
can't
transparency.
come, then the town has no way of hearing the audio.
I want to comment about Facebook. Use of Facebook Live is, I don't recommend that because Facebook retains ownership of the posted information, the posted data. So ultimately, if you post on Facebook Live, you're going to subject your citizens to advertising targeted at them, and you don't retain ownership of the content. So I
So
would,
what would be an alternative?
an alternative
Put it
would
on
be,
YouTube?
certainly YouTube, you could use.
YouTube stuff.
So you could be, the town could be in charge of the audio recording, and every week after the meeting, post it to a YouTube
Channel.
channel.
But have
You
a
can
Cedar
even-
Bluff YouTube
And that way,
channel.
people can,
The only thing you get on that, and I'm 100% against it, Mr. Altshuler, I appreciate what his efforts, but when you send that thing to the Voice gives his opinion. His opinion may not be something that's valuable to you or me. I've got a lot of people, I think I got a pretty small head in the world. But there's other people got another opinion of that. So when we're putting that out there to anybody can use their opinion, we are causing a lot of damage to people. I think we need to put something out there that's got facts behind it, but not opinions.
I think that's why the video is so important, is because if you have a video, no one can misinterpret what we are saying when they can actually see us on a video doing it and saying it.
I think it's great if you had a bigger town than we got a small town. If I forgot, and I haven't, for 60 years, I've never been done for a bill. I've never wrote a bad check. I've never had bankruptcy. For 60 years, I've paid my bills on time. I'll challenge anybody on that. But what if you forget? What if you're sick and you're broadcasting that out to Lebanon and Richlands, and you're ruining people's reputation by it? Something that's nobody's got a chance to explain herself.
Here's the only deal I have with YouTube Live. You do have an option to turn comments off, like the town of Richlands does. So there's no comment. All that it is will be the video of the meeting. So whatever's talked about in here will be all that shows. Nobody else can ruin your reputation or talk bad about you, for lack of better words. It will just be the council speaking, and nobody else can speak on it. Unless it's person to person, but nobody can help Joe Blow from going, talking to his buddy and saying that is a load of, you know what about it. That's just gonna
And I
happen. It's
run
just bound to
for
happen.
mayor this time, and I'm well pleased with you.
Yes,
I've been bragging on you, and I want to do anything I can to help you.
yes.
But while I was running, there was things put out there that there was dishonesty among the board council. I've had my 6-year-old children ask me, Papa, are you dishonest in the county? I don't think anything we do that puts anything out there that could be falsely used on us,
Right, no, I agree 100%.
such as the voice or anything,
If you
it's
were more
not good.
transparent, people would not have the illusion of dishonesty. If you were more transparent with your meeting, everyone would not have the illusion of dishonesty.
I'm glad everybody's getting religion and not having it, but I've not found that. The more they can find on, when you go to, you're going to asphalt a road, and you put down $10,000 for asphalting this project. How many people in Cedar Bluff's going to say, hey, you're asphalting their property, but you're not asphalting my property?
Right.
I want it on there. You're bringing up feuds, comments.
But those feuds would happen if the people came and sat through a meeting.
If they did, if they're real interested, I think they ought to come.
Right, and I agree.
I've been
I
doing
agree
this
with
here
that.
for
But at the
15
same- At the
years.
same time though, we're in the middle of a pandemic and it's a
Well,
modern age.
For
I mean, it
15
needs-
years, we've not had a pandemic. I've been here 15 years.
Right,
Our crowds have been about like this.
right, I understand that.
And we're not having a lot of disturbance.
Right.
When you put it out there where everybody can see it, you won't have a lot of disturbance.
Well, as a tax-paying citizen, they have the right to hear it and to know what's happening. And it should be supplied by us rather than just a citizen that is doing it out of the good faith of his heart to make it known to everybody. It should be our responsibility.
Well, I think that what you're saying is transparency. That's a good thing. And we just did something here tonight, that if we broadcast this, tomorrow morning, we'd have a whole bunch of people coming in here asking John, take the backhoe up to their place and do the same thing.
Oh, John, be
That's true,
listening.
that's true.
I mean, you're laughing about it, but it's true.
It's
Let
true.
me tell you something. I think sometimes you open up a can of worms when we do things like that. And it's hard to say no. I mean, we want to help people, that's for sure, but then, can you imagine what would happen with that statement going out that we'll come to your house and do this in a private property?
I would suggest we put this thing to a vote, see how it flies.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
With that context.
Yes, sir. Mr. Lester.
Interject, this has been a motion that's come before the board twice, and I've made the motion twice to have it publicized. But it's failed to pass because of the cost that was involved, and you may ask council to look into it. It was explained to us by the county attorney that should we decide to broadcast our public government meetings, it was required of us to do so in a way that would be accessible to individuals with disabilities. And therefore we had a couple of different services that we were looking at to pay. So you have to pay a company that will provide for both deaf and individuals who can't hear. Well, I guess that's the same. But it was fairly substantial. I mean, it was going to cost us quite a bit to pay to have the broadcast set up with, and I don't remember what they call that, with the captioning. But that's something you may want to look into before you commit to broadcasting a public meeting.
Right. Now, is that on an access channel, so to speak, or?
We were going to post it on our website. We were going to have it videotaped and posted on our website, like the town of Bluefield does.
Right.
Now, the thing is, it was also pointed out that we couldn't find any municipality that was providing that requirement.
Right.
However, it just takes one person to suggest that you need to, and you'll have to.
Right.
So that's the reason it hasn't passed on the board. The council might have it, maybe it would find a way.
Right. That's, yes, sir, I appreciate it. I wasn't up to date on that. I know, I just watched Town of Richland's YouTube channel, I know.
I do too.
Right now, I mean,
We all do. I've watched it for years before I ever even attempted to be sitting here. And it's interesting, and a lot of children, young people watch it and learn from it. It's beneficial in a lot of ways.
Entertaining if you want to know about your neighbors.
I never watched it to learn about the neighbors.
Some people do.
Mr. Ratliff made a statement, or not a statement, but a sheet listing the advantages and the disadvantages of doing it. Because I had asked, I guess, if there's any legal aspects that would, disadvantages of it. So, would you read that to us?
Sure. I mean, ultimately, this is just some initial thoughts with regard to, weighing the use of what I anticipated would be video and then posting it to YouTube. I wasn't necessarily thinking about live streaming at that moment, but obviously transparency is a big deal. It generates more trust with the council because folks see what's going on as opposed to hearing something. No other person or entity can misinterpret council's actions or council member statements. Photographs, audio, and visual recordings cannot be edited in a way that will lead to misinterpretations of the proceedings. We all know there's more context to seeing someone make a motion or make a statement or have an argument than even audio, and certainly more than in writing. I don't know how many people here use email and have gotten themselves in trouble with email, but I'm one because it doesn't give the context of what's going on. Council unilaterally controls the official record under those circumstances. You will approve what's posted rather than And no offense to certainly Tim or to anybody else who records, but there would be an official statement or an official record that's posted by the town that would have the town's seal of approval. Keeps the content of the meeting in proper context, providing, well, I did have live video, recordings of council proceedings, grants citizens immediate access to the chamber without having to leave the comfort of their home if they're sick or busy or lack transportation. It encourages a greater number of people to get involved, and I'll also say that might be a negative, but I think it's a positive in that respect. Grows the number of participants through viewership and provides a video record for future use by the public, by the town manager, by council, and by the town clerk. Quite frequently I represent several municipalities, and I'm asked, do you remember what you said? Or do you have notes on this, because I need to get it in the record? It ensures an informed public, and it's relatively inexpensive, but not for the live streaming for the reasons that Tom pointed out. We do have to meet ADA requirements if you do live stream, but if you post on YouTube after the fact, that's different. Disadvantages: every action and statement is open and obvious. So if you have an argument, or if you have, some issue, or if you make a statement that you want to retract, it's out there and it's on video, and you're seen doing that particular thing. Underinformed individuals may see only portions of a telecast and jump to conclusions, and you get certainly, as has been pointed out, folks who are armchair quarterbacks who call you the next morning. That's a real problem. Council members have to live with the decisions and statement made at that point, because you've made them, they're on video, and the world can look at them. And again, what was an advantage, it could be a disadvantage: it grows the number of participants through viewership. So you're gonna have more folks, and you're gonna have more scrutiny. But by the same token, you also have an open floor, and you have this level of transparency that you don't have now. It just reaches a lot more people. And those are just off the top of my head. By all means, I wanted to be able to provide some context for the discussion if it had come up. So I'll turn that back to the mayor and council members.
So, are we dead set on live stream, or
Not live stream.
just posting on YouTube after me?
I mean, I think for now, if everybody's uncomfortable with a video of the meeting, then let's start out with posting the audio on YouTube. That's an official record of the town, an audio that's put on YouTube for people to go back and listen to. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion of that. I'm willing to compromise. No video, let's just do an audio.
Okay, audio is better.
Formation of a formal YouTube channel.
Yes, I'd make a motion of doing a audio, please.
Oh, yeah?
That would require formation of a YouTube channel
Right.
for the town, specifically run by the town.
Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second for use of audio during our town council meeting to be published. I believe this is gonna require a roll call vote. I'll go down the line and get the pen to write, if you don't mind, just a second.
And can I say something? Is there a motion and a second? Have you got a motion and a second already?
Motion and a second.
So you can have discussion. The thing about Ms. Total's motion on about the audio, the way we need to look at that as the board, it's no different than what Mr. Altizer's doing right now.
Right.
It's just that the town has ownership of that, and I don't see a problem with that, at all for the board, because Mr. Altizer's doing it anyways. Now the town's just in charge of their own page. He can continue to do that, Mr. Altizer can. I'm sure he would, but moving forward, that recording right there, I'm sure it's gonna be on YouTube tonight, is it not, Tim?
In the morning.
By in the morning. So, you know, I don't have a problem with Ms. Tuggle because I do believe in transparency. And, I'm just a little sketchy about video, I'll just be honest with you. But audio, I think the more transparent that you can be with the general public, the less questions people's gonna have. I agree with Ms. Tuggle on that. And, that's all I pretty much got to say.
Can that be edited or not?
Well, like Luke said, the comment section can be like
Turned off.
turned off. You
Nobody
know,
can comment on it.
you know, like when we're open meeting like this right now, this will be recorded because it's open meeting. But like
Close
No
session.
closed session will not be recorded because of course it's closed session. But like if we're getting into a dispute or something after it's recorded, we can edit that out, you know, the dispute or whatever, you know. But like my crazy comments about tobacco, it's gonna be on the YouTube in the morning on Mr. Altizer. I'll have 10 calls tomorrow, Tim, thank you. Yeah, so, but anyways, it is what it is. I mean, we gotta be transparent, and I agree with Ms. Tuggle on that. I feel way more comfortable with audio than I do video at this time. I'm not saying in the near future we may go to audio and do it away with YouTube. I do agree with Mr. Ratliff on the live stream video, just because Mr. Ratliff probably seen the same thing I saw. The Facebook took a picture of this family eating with this special soft drink somewhere like Florida or California or somewhere, marketed it, made millions of dollars on it. Well, that family ended up suing because they didn't give them rights, and they didn't realize when they clicked agree, set their Facebook account up, they gave their rights away, didn't they, Brad?
That's correct.
So, I agree with the live stream on the Facebook. I wouldn't do that, but you know, this is a baby step in the right direction, and I agree with Ms. Tuggle on this. So I don't think it's any different than what's being done to us now,
Except we own.
except we own. So, you know, moving forward, I think it's, you know.
I think that's positive for the citizens to see that we are offering it,
I
not
agree.
another citizen doing it. We're offering it for them to listen to. Please listen to it.
Right,
We want you to be a part.
that's right.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Okay. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Smith,
No.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yeah.
Ms. Tuggle,
Yes.
Mr. Lindsay,
Yes.
Ms. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Town report, your water department.
Mr. Lindsay, Water Department report.
Water report for January 2021. All samples came back good. All meters were read on time. The Virginia Department of Health performed their biannual inspection, recommended a couple of minor improvements to the concrete tank located at College Hill. Everything else was good. Repaired one main line that was leaking on Gateway Drive.
Mr. Smith, Fire Department.
Activities for the fire department during the month of January are as following: 2 monthly meetings, 1 called during the month. Hopefully we will soon result in a normal meeting schedule. Total hours of meeting, training, and other things, 12 total hours on call, 4. Respectfully submitted by Brian Lockhart, Captain of the Fire Department.
Mr. McLaughlin, Police Department.
Police department had 24 calls. They worked 2 accidents. They made 2 arrests. They had 11 traffic stops. 4 summons were issued. They had assisted other jurisdictions twice. They had auxiliary officer hours, had 8 of those, and they computer phone forensic scans, they had 3 of those, and they traveled 3,862 miles in their cruiser. On January the 19th, they attended the virtual workshop by the 21-22 Highway Safety Grant Program. Before that program is what I meant to say. And then he has another thing here he wants me to read to you. The department received a letter from Mr. Derek Mays, Program Director of the Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission. This letter was in response to the review of the police department's policy and standard operating guidelines. This letter showed that the department's policies and SOG meet all the requirements established by the VLEPC, VLEPSC, and that we are now available to participate in all federal grant programs and has opened the door for the acceleration of our accreditation process. A goal that Chief Brown says, I stated in my interview for the position of Chief of Police. A copy of the letter is in our packets, and right here is the copy. Everybody has a copy of that letter.
Yeah, it's all in your packets.
He also asked me to say something that brings a lot of joy to him. He couldn't be here tonight to say it to you, Brad, but this is concerning you. He said, he asked me to convey his heartfelt thanks to your attorney, to Mr. Brad Ratliff for the good work he did in the Tazewell County court session for January. He produced good results for the community, and Chief Brown and our entire police department is excited to have Mr. Ratliff with them and on our side to defend our community. He said in all the time he's been here, never had that relationship with the attorney, that when he went to court, you were there to take care of those cases with him, and you got good results, and he's very pleased about that, and he wanted you to know it.
Thank you, Ken.
So thank you,
I
we appreciate it too.
Thank you.
And before we get started, I gotta say one thing, Mayor. You threw me off with the questions. I got scattered, York. I'm sorry, because usually that's Joe always critiquing what we pay. But the rural development, I just realized that is our Indian Creek sewage bond. That's the sewage bond with Indian Creek, that's not in the town, but it's on a term. But the BB&T governmental finance payment of $2,800, that's the fire department. But I just want to get that here on the record while Mr. Altizer's got his recording out. The rural development $2,700 payment, that's for the Indian Creek sewage bond, where we share the system with the Tazewell County PSA of Indian Creek. It's not in the town of Cedar Bluff, but that's what that is. It threw me off for a second. I was like, well, that's fire department. And then we asked the other one, I was like, crap, that's fire department. And then I got to thinking about it during the meeting. I was like, that's it. And I was like, Mr. Altizer, am I right? Am I right? And so anyways, I got worried, but I just remembered that's the Indian Creek sewage bond is the rural development.
Gotcha.
And so anyways, I just want to clarify that. But that's a payment that's every month like clockwork to the rural development for the Indian Creek sewage bond. And of course, the fire department, I think our balance on that is around, I want to say, 60,000 on that. So we're paying it down good. We're into the meat of the loan now. Every payment that we're paying now is pretty much going towards the principal. But I just wanted to throw that out. Sorry.
John, have you had any luck getting our records from Mr. Carmody?
I have no. He said he would turn the records over. I talked to Mr. Carmody, and we're just going to have to schedule one day. He said he's got a whole storage building full, didn't he, Terry? We need to go down there one day. Hopefully he can, I'm sure there's boxes after box, but we need those records. I don't think we have enough room here on site because our storage facility in the back's pretty much full with records. We may have to rent a storage building from Wayne across the street just to keep the files in if he's got one available. But, we do need to get those records.
You wanna do that, or like Brad, or?
Well, or Brad,
It's
Mr.
probably
Carter said it would be no problem. I talked to him, but if you'll reach out to him, Brad. Sure.
It's been about, what, 3 months?
Yeah, he left, the 1st of December. So,
I realize I'm out of turn here based on our agenda, but while we're in the middle of this, in addition to after we post our audio, and we've already posted the agenda online, would it be possible to post the minutes online as well?
The
Of
minutes?
meeting?
yeah, we can do the minutes after we get the minutes.
Recommend after approval. After approval.
Yeah, after approval, after the minutes, yeah.
Yeah, after approval of the minutes, of course.
Right,
The
right.
following month, then we can post it online as well.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, do you think that would need a vote, Mr. Ratliff?
I will
Probably.
put that in form of a motion and a vote.
Yeah.
Okay. And just state your motion after approval.
I would like to ask that the minutes be posted online after approval of minutes each month of the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the minutes of the prior meeting to be posted online. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have closed session items to discuss, including section 2.2-3711-A7, legal litigation, Crossroads Engineering, Project Peacock, Project Ponzi, Project Clinch River, Project Depository. Do I have a motion to enter closed session?
Mr. Mayor, let me, as point of order, I would suggest that would also include section 2.23711A5, discussion of prospective business or industry, and section 2.23711A6, discussion or consideration of investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made publicly, the financial interests of governmental unit will be adversely affected. So there's 3 sections.
And again, that's where I dropped the ball. I meant to reach out to Brad because I knew that probably what we're gonna be discussing tonight in executive session. And I should have called Brad today, or at least emailed him and asked him. I didn't think the A7 was just gonna be enough on all of what we're talking about, but thank you, Mr. Ratliff.
Do I have a motion to enter closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor, vote aye. Motion passes. 8:26.